I think we are live.
Cool.
All right.
So
There you go.
we'll begin.
Hello, everyone.
Do you want me to do the intro? Or do you want to do the intro?
Go for it.
Sounds good. So hi everyone. Welcome to our Coffee with Curators for today. So thank you for tuning in for with our last Coffee with Curators. We have a bunch of other stuff planned for our future Coffee with Curators, but for today, we will be doing a bunch of different things. We'll be unboxing our Strange the Dreamer set, which is next to me. So that'll be really fun. We'll be answering some fan questions and just having some fun overall. You might have noticed we're on like a different platform right now. We're doing this live into the nest, which is really new for us, but also something that we want to continue doing. So we'll move a couple to Instagram and a couple here. So just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Teresa. You might have seen me do a bunch of our Owl Babbles, which is why I got mixed up. So Owl Babbles are our author chats, and I do those over on Instagram. I'm currently one of the members of OwlCrate's curation team, and so I worked on the Strange Dreamer sets fairly early on when I joined on. So there's a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about for the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. My name is Yeatasmin. I am one of the other curators on the OwlCrate YA team. I'm really excited to be on our first Nest Live, which is really cool. So usually we're on Instagram, but it's really nice to join the Nest community for this special unboxing. Just to clarify, all the Nest Lives will also be available in the Nest app. It should be in the OC community group and the live stream folder to replay later if you won't be able to stay for the whole time, or if you want to watch later and you can't watch now. We also post a lot of updates on our TikToks and just a lot of fun content on there, as well as on our Instagram. And today we are also going to be giving away 5 Strange the Dreamer sets, which is really awesome. Just to make a note that there will be a wait to receive them because we don't currently have any in stock right now, and we're waiting for more. So there will be a bit of a wait. But once we get them in stock, we will be sending them out to the giveaway winners. Yeah?
Yep.
Let's get into the unboxing. This is the exciting part.
For sure.
Got that blue box right here.
I took them out like moments before the lives. I scrambled because I realized I did not rip off the plastic bits.
Okay.
I was like frantically trying to get them off. But yeah, it's always really fun to get the box and then open it. And they sent it out with a blue box this time, which is really fun.
Yeah, it just fits the whole vibe.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So going with the first book, Strange the Dreamer. So we did release these covers ahead of time before selling them, but if you didn't know, the cover is redesigned. So let me show the original covers. So the original covers look like that.
Oh yeah.
So there's like the comparison
glare
right there.
There you go. Yeah.
Let me see. I'm gonna stop mirroring my camera so you guys can see the text. There you go. Yeah, those are the original covers right there. And so these are the redesigns that we did. And the redesigns are by No One Designs, who is also working on our pins this year. So that's fun.
And Chloe's always fantastic to work with. Like, she is great. She put a lot of thought into these.
Yeah, she like really knows how to work with the details, and these are just stunning. The back quote says, "I think you're a fairy tale. I think you're magical and brave and exquisite, and I hope you let me be in your story." Just so cute.
Yeah. And it's very subtly shiny. Like, it's not like in your foil, but it works really well, especially with the deserty aesthetic. If you've read the book, you'll notice that we added a lot of references in. We actually, in the process of designing the cover, there was a lot of back and forth communication and Laini and everybody on the team. And so this was really a collaborative effort. And yeah, we really did put a lot of thought into this. You'll notice that we really tried to match both of the books together, obviously, because it is a set, but we did go into the planning with kind of like a color scheme in mind, and the process of trying to figure out, matching codes for the colors and like which bits on the cover. Because if you notice, this cover is kind of almost layered with the background being like, slightly different colors and variations in order to get that deserty effect with the buildings in the front, with and the moths on top and the pattern. So yeah, it was a lot of trial and error testing to see which combinations look best, and I'm really proud with what we came up with. Yeah. And so this dust jacket design was collaboratively done with Tess at Paperbackbones. So Tess and Chloe worked on them together.
To go under the dust jacket, the stunning foil hardcover is also done by Known Designs in the front and Paperback Bones in the back. So it's the same for both Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares. It's so stunningly detailed, like insane.
And it works so well with the story too. It has the dream effect. Yeah, I think for this design specifically too, you'll see that this is Laszlo on the cover. So if you've read the book, you'll know why this cover is kind of important. Well, the foil is kind of important, and the pattern is really, it's really meant to like invoke parts of his character. It has the same dreamy vibes that he has, and the back, this quote is also really, really important to his character too. So we purposefully kind of designed this first book to be homage to him. He's probably one of my favorite characters. Like, I read the book before doing this project, and then I reread it during the project, and he's definitely like one of those characters where he's a really, really good character. And Laini really, really wrote him as, I think, one of those characters that, he's not like a bad boy. He's not like everybody's like, he's not like edgy or like dark or anything, but he does have that entire like steadfast thing going on, and I really appreciate that. So I'm really glad that we have, a design kind of dedicated towards him. Yeah. And then we also have our sprayed edges for this book. Can't miss those. So yeah, the sprayed edges are very slightly different in terms of color. It's kind of hard to catch on camera. I'm just gonna put those two together just really quickly. So, but we wanted to design it again so that when they're on your bookshelf, whether you display them like with the spine like towards you, or like I know some people love to like display their slate edges by, putting them this way. They're meant to kind of sit next to each other where you can really, really, notice that they are a set, but at the same time that there's slight variations in between. And I'm really happy with how subtle like the difference is though. So yeah.
I love when we get to do sprayed edges for our books. It just elevates them for sure. We also have these stunning end pages. Kind of reflects the moth design that's on the cover of the book. Wow, my camera definitely doesn't get the color. It's way more orange. Like, I think you can see it on Teresa's camera.
I'll try and crack it open. I opened the cover and I heard that crack and I'm like, oh God, I don't like cracking open my books. So I'm going to warm up the spine really quickly. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. I've seen horror like videos of people opening up old books. It's not so bad with like modern printing and like publishing in general, but like with old books, because the binding is very different. If you open up the spines too quickly, they fall apart. And I know it's not something that will happen. It's just I have a fear of that, so I tend to like try and warm up the spine before.
That sounds horrifying.
There we go.
But yeah, there. I think Teresa gets the color better.
Yeah.
But you can kind of see the design.
It's the same design that is over here on the very top.
Yeah.
So you open it up, and there's a bit of the cover on the inside too. Yeah.
Stunning. Going back to the dust jacket, along with the bookmarks that we have, that we'll show in a bit, were made by Golden Rose Art. Stunning design. And I think it really suits the book well. Like, it just all looks so cohesive, even with the art.
Mm-hmm. Rosa is very fantastic to work with. When we decided on the 2 scenes for both Strange the Dreamer and Muse and Nightmares, she immediately jumped up and was like, okay, these 2 scenes are fantastic. And she was actually reading the book, the first book, alongside doing these. So she really was like immersed in the world for a bit, and we went back and forth. I actually kind of started out with figuring out which scenes we wanted to do, had a couple, and then we kind of narrowed it down together, and then I sent them to Rosa. Rosa figured out what color scheme exactly she wanted to do, and I really, really love how it's very subtle in terms of like a scene, but like the colors are muted, but this is meant to be like that time, twilight time, with like a little bit of the sun like still kind of peeking out, but you can see that the moon is up, so you have a little bit of that like gold ish pinkish color in the background, and then you have stars out, and then you have the gang, and Laszlo looks extremely hot in this. I love how she draws Laszlo, because come on, right? So
yeah, it's stunning.
yeah. And it's really funny because she sent over sketches, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is already gorgeous. And the sketches had like sometimes sketches tend to be very like minimal for some artists, and that's part of the process, because artists work differently, and some people like to do detailed sketches, some people like to start out with like very simple stuff. Rosa actually drew all of the characters and kind of framed them, so they were blocked within the scene, and already with the sketch itself you could tell that the characters are so dynamic, and we were so stunned by like how detailed she made the characters. And then she actually finished the illustration, and we were like, oh my gosh, this looks like a painting. So yeah, it was really, really fun working with her on this.
Yeah, definitely. It came out stunning, and I think like the art just suits the books very well.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said these copies are so beautiful. I didn't get them, but I'm regretting it a little. There is a wait list. I highly recommend getting on that wait list, because you get on that wait list, you should get another chance in getting them, because we are waiting for that stock to come back.
Shall we go on to the bookmarks?
Muse of Nightmares, yes.
Oh, bookmarks. Or do you want to do Muse of Nightmares first?
Let's do Muse of Nightmares, and then we'll
Cool.
do bookmarks. So, kind of similar to Strange the Dreamer, we have Muse of Nightmares. So you can kind of see how the design is kind of kept similar, but slightly different in the colors and the placement of the colors.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, that was Muse of Nightmares covers. So it's all kind of a similar pattern and scheme, except different colors. On the foil hardcover case, it's also very similar, except it's in silver.
Mm-hmm. And it shows Sarai.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not too sure if that is how you pronounce your name, because I've never actually said the name out loud. Yeah, I think it's Sarai.
I have no clue how to pronounce it either.
It's always like, those names where you're like, I'm certain it's pronounced this way, and you have it in your head, and then every once in a while you're just like, It's like how in Akotar people are like resend or Rysend. That was like a big thing when the book came out. It's one of those things. But I've been calling her Sarai in my head, so I'm going to stick with that. Yeah. And then so on the back we have a quote. It says, "New dreams sprout up when old ones come true, like seedlings in a forest." And it's one of those gorgeous quotes. And so, on the front you have, as maybe this is a spoiler, but the bird has special significance. I'm not going to say why. And then you have Sarai's moths, which, if you've seen any Strange the Dreamer artwork, it comes up quite often. But yeah, so that is that. And we forgot the cover on
the quote. I was looking at that too.
Yeah, so it says, there comes a certain point with a hope or a dream when you either give it up or give up everything else. So it's not really a grim quote necessarily, but it has that very like, it has that connotation, and it's one of the more important quotes in the story, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Following the pattern of Strange the Dreamer, you have similar end papers. Oh, this gets the color better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show it.
With the blue and the orange. I just love how cohesive it is. It's just like everything just works well together.
Mm-hmm.
Down to like the sprayed edges and everything. It's just perfect.
If you put them side by side. I actually saw a picture of somebody displaying them without the dust jacket on, and it's also like really gorgeous. It has that very like subtle look to it too. And
stunning.
Yeah, it's really, really fun watching people just display their books in general, because I personally believe you can tell a lot from how a person displays their books. Yeah.
The Strange the Dreamer book also has a letter bound into the book. So usually we have them as a separate card for any edition that gets a signed letter. But this time they're bound into the book, which I actually really like, because even with the cards that we get, I end up putting them in the book anyways.
Yeah.
So this is just like very convenient. And there's the signature.
Also signed. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Stunning. I love you so much.
I think a lot of people who have purchased the set are actually first-time readers of the books too. So y'all are in for a treat if you've not read the books yet, because these two books are so fun, and Laini is such a good writer. Yeah, so I think that's it for the book. Oh no, we haven't looked at the inside of the dust jacket yet.
Right.
Yeah. So this is also done by Rosa at Golden Rose Art, and again, she really put a lot of thought into this. The colors for this one in particular are so dreamy. So Strange the Dreamer, if you look at the cover, it's meant to be a night scene, and like I said, it's supposed to be like that after twilight for like the reverse in general. And then Muse of Nightmares, like the French you'll see is a day scene, right? So like this is supposed to be like before time, before that dusk sets in. So it's supposed to be like they're almost in the same like time. It's just one is slightly before, one is slightly after, so they're kind of connected in terms of like the scenes. And it also that also will come up when we show the bookmark too, which we designed in a specific way. But yeah, so we have all of the god spawn, which is such a creepy word, but I love it. So you'll see that there's all the god spawn over here. We really it was very, very difficult finding different ways to portray the god spawn, but I think we did it really well, and Rosa captured all of their personalities and their expressions perfectly. And you have Sarai at the very front over here, and she's looking out, and so we kind of envisioned that she's like standing on the balcony thinking about Laszlo over here, and that's why she's looking out, and the rest of her siblings are kind of, you know, behind her and all, you know, thinking their own thoughts, plotting, scheming if you're a certain somebody. So yeah, and you have, you know, we didn't want to overdo it with the moss, but you'll see that there's like a couple of moths around Sarai. So yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people had just a lot of fun unboxing and seeing all the different features. Because I would say like this was one of our special edition sets that people were really excited to get, because there was just so much that these books had. They're just so stunning together.
I'll put on my dust jackets later. I'll leave them to the side. Yeah. Yes. And then we have our bookmarks for last.
Yeah. So on the back of the bookmarks, you can see they kind of connect in the back as well. But there are quotes. One says, "The way he looked at her, she felt some kind of miracle," right there. On the other says, inside a mist, inside a dream, a young man and woman were remade. So that's the quote side together. And then the fun part is that front side.
Yeah. So when Rosa drew these, so these are also by Golden Rose Art, the notes we gave her were to kind of create one scene, and then we could like split them into 2 bits to print on the bookmarks. And these are wood marks, by the way, so they're not paper, they're made out of wood. It's a really, really nice material, and they feel very, very nice in your hands. But so this is supposed to be one scene, and we said, so the idea is sort of like the books themselves. We kind of wanted to make it kind of like ship-esque, because the romance in these books is pretty important. So, you know, it's one scene, they're looking at each other, and then we separate them because we're evil like that. Joking. But
cool.
yeah, we really wanted to kind of like invoke that kind of romantic feel. And then when we actually went through the books to pick the quotes, right, we had a whole bunch, we had an entire list, but the general gist is these 2 quotes are meant to kind of also show their relationship, because the first one with you know, it talks about how Laszlo is looking at Sarai and all that, and how it feels like a miracle. It's about their relationship. And then this is like the second quote is meant to invoke their setting, which is like inside a mist, inside a dream. And like, not to spoil anything, but like it's a if you know, you know situation based on how they meet and like a bunch of the important scenes. And then so yeah, a young man and woman were remade, which is really, really important to the plot of the story too. So those are your bookmarks. If you're a shipper and you like the romance, I feel like you would have been really, really happy to receive these. Yeah.
So that's all of it together.
Yeah.
On the description card, there's also surprise, another art print.
Yeah. So we took a bit of the reverse for the first book for Strange the Dreamer, and we cut it up. So it's one of those mini scenes from there. And again, Laszlo's looking extremely attractive over here. And so this is like a little print that you can use if you are a fan of the character or the fan of the books in general and you want to display this somewhere. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is our stunning Strange the Dreamer set.
And reminder, if you're watching this, there's a chance to win one of these sets because we're giving out 5 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if that doesn't work out for you, there is a wait list. So there are definitely chances to get your set of Strange the Dreamer, as I know there are a lot of people who are still wanting to get them.
But I also recommend that you sign up for the wait list soon because it is filling up.
It's filling up really fast.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love unboxing books.
Shall we move on to the questions?
Yeah, I have them on my iPad here. We got a lot of questions on both Instagram and on the Nest. So yeah, let's get into them. It's a lot to go through.
Yeah. So we'll go through them in order, I guess. There's a couple of other ones, but I'm just going to pull them up really quickly. So the first question on here I have is it too soon to talk about the January box? Because wow, I am absolutely stunned by everybody's reactions to this box. I'm really, really happy that everybody seems to be loving this box as much as they do. And all of the pictures that have been popping up on Instagram and, you know, people have been tagging us. Like I've been kind of stalking y'all and looking at, you know, the comments, and I am just from the bottom of my heart, like I'm so glad that we did the box the way we did. Yeah, I can't just I don't think we should talk about the details just yet because we are planning on doing an unboxing for it really, really soon. But I just wanted to thank everyone for such an amazing response to the box, and we're happy that, you know, the entire community seems to love it as much as we do. Yeah, the book itself was, again, really, really fun to kind of figure out how to curate for, and the items too. We like planning out the fandoms and, you know, matching up the item with the fandoms itself, and even like figuring out the license stuff was like really, really fun. And I do think that, you know, that kind of has reflected in the items themselves because everybody seems to be, you know, happy with how useful the items are, and how they vibe well with the theme. So yeah, again, we are planning on doing an unboxing for this hopefully soon. So we'll go into details for all of the items then.
Yeah, we're going to do a coffee with curators as we usually do for our monthly boxes. That'll probably be down later in February, just to give time for people to get their boxes as it has started shipping already. I do want to say, like, it's such a stunning box. As someone who wasn't part of the curating process at the time, because I wasn't a part of OwlCrate then, it was such a pleasure to unbox that January box, because it's just everything just went together. It's all items that I would use. And I think that's like something that like we try to keep up when we're planning our boxes, is to make sure that like people love the book, people love what we have in the boxes, and just the quality and design of the items are something that we hope that people will enjoy as well, because we do want to give quality items to the subscribers.
I don't know about you, but I just received the box, I think yesterday, very recently anyways. I have not actually opened anything yet because I want to do it on the live.
Oh, okay.
I've been looking at people's posts, but I will not touch my own box. Like the book is not like unwrapped, it's just in there. I will do everything on the live when we do it. So reactions, and it's actually sitting right over there. So
wow, you have way more patience than I do. I got my box and I tore through it. I could not wait for that one. Yeah, there are a lot of comments too that are saying like January was one of my favorites. They think it's amazing and they loved it. Yeah, we really love the positive response that we've been getting for that box, for sure.
This is also one of those I told y'all situations, because I know we've like kind of hinted that the January box would be fantastic. And we started like hinting at that, I think last November or even before that. So yeah.
Yeah. Also a reminder to anyone who's watching, if you have any questions while you're watching the live, feel free to drop them down below. We're going to answer as many as we can. Right now we're going through all the pre-asked questions, but if you do have anything on your mind that you would like to ask us, go ahead and drop them. Next question, kind of connected to the January box, is will there be any leftover January boxes? So because the January box was so positively received, there have been like unprecedented sales for the January box. Like we were talking about it. The team was talking about it. Like, wow, this is like insane, the positive reception that we've gotten. So we'll keep you updated on how it goes in terms of selling extras that we have left. But I will just say that you might have to be pretty quick about it, because it's a very popular box right now.
And the stock is rapidly going down.
Yeah.
We also have like a bunch of comments over here that I'm just looking at from, let's see, Melzy, Josie, Lunar Cat, Kit Kat Reads, Amber Reads, Arla's Enchanted, Bard the Reader, Konnichiwa, all about the January's box. And so lots of positive feedback. Yeah.
Love hearing that.
And then next question, which is also kind of related to our previous question, about how many monthly subscription boxes get sent out each month. I don't have exact numbers, but it is like a lot. And the reason why I don't have exact numbers is because it varies sometimes. But as of right now, I have an idea of a number, but I can't figure out exactly how. Actually, yeah, no. So there isn't an exact number in my head. I have like a general idea, but currently we're running extremely close to selling out of subscriptions. Yeah. So be aware that a wait list will most likely go up in the future for, February's box, because of how well January has done. So keep an eye out. And if you have been thinking about getting a subscription, I highly recommend you do so soon.
Yes. Going into the next question, are there any more dark academia novels coming up in future months? So that's exciting. I think we can say that we both love anything dark academia, books, vibes, everything. So I would say dark academia tends to fall towards the latter half of the year, especially in terms of book releases. So we're still going through some of the manuscripts that we've received, and we're still continuing to receive them as we're entering fall selections. So we're definitely hoping to feature some in the later boxes because there are some cool options that we're looking at, but again, no guarantee because we're still in the process of even just reading them and getting some more manuscripts.
I will say that we have talked about this, so it's something that we are kind of hoping to do because everybody loves dark academia, and we always try and do like one year the latter half of the year. So there are also like a bunch of cool options that are out this year. So we're going to figure it out. So, stay tuned. Next question. Let's see. When will we learn more about what else from Laini Taylor you have in store for us? So keep an eye out. So join obviously, if you're on the Nest, you're already seeing this, but we'll talk a little bit about stuff in here, but also join the newsletter if you haven't, because we announce a lot of stuff in the newsletter. But yeah, we have stuff coming up. It's going to be absolutely epic, and can't reveal anything else, unfortunately, but keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always kind of difficult to talk about upcoming possible releases because it's one of those things where you just really want to talk about them, but you're like, yeah, I don't want to spoil anything. Like, you guys are just going to have to wait and see.
What I can say, though, is there's a lot of planning that's been put into certain things that we're doing this year that we haven't done before. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. And the planning process has been very, very long, but we hope that it reflects the quality of the stuff that we've kind of put out. So yeah, I think if you are a fan of certain things, you'll be very happy this year.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Next question. Any chance of more enamel chain bookmarks? This kind of goes with a lot of requested items that subscribers ask for, especially like if they're a repeat. So I would say never on that, because we do tend to bring popular items back, and just make sure that they're designed in a new way for the subscribers to use and to love. So again, it's definitely a possibility. There's no guarantee, but if we're able to make it work with future boxes, it's definitely something that we will look into.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the next question, related to my previous question, is when can we expect Daughter of Smoke and Bone news? Again, more info to come. Side-eye emoji.
A hint for a future special edition. This is fun. We did give this hint before. We'll mention it again because that was on Instagram. So a future special edition that we're looking to do is a retelling, and it's by an author that we have had in one of our boxes before. So if you can figure out who that is.
We're both reading through the manuscript right now. I'm almost done, and it is such a fun book. It's very different in a lot of ways, but also very similar. If you know the author, then you can definitely tell that it's them who's writing the book. It's also one of those books that have a feeling that it almost feels kind of nostalgic in some kind of way, but in a good way. So if you are a fan of like a certain genre that was out during our high school years, which would have been like 2010-ish and like onward. Gosh, am I getting my timelines right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you are.
So if you are a fan of that certain genre, this will feel very familiar to you, but it's also been rehashed in a way that I think pays respect to the history of the genre itself and takes a lot of that stuff into account. Mm-hmm. We've been reading through the manuscript and kind of talking about this too, and it's such a fun book. It is very gritty in some senses, but it's also, the characters are so fascinatingly written. There's a lot of interesting dynamics, and the plot itself is it's out of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's also just one of those books that I think people are just really looking forward to in general. And we know that everyone kind of knows that already. And so I think people will be really excited when they see what it is.
For sure. And the next question says, Raven Cycle books, 2 to 4 special editions, also called Down the Hawk restock. Again, I'm going to give you all the side-eye emoji. Stay tuned. Sign up for the newsletter. So you'll get the news if you do.
When will we get the next paperback? That's a good question. So we don't have, at least for the first half of January, we don't have the paperback classics featured in our boxes. But this isn't an item that we want to just discard as an idea. We do want to bring back, if the opportunity comes, to bring back the paperback classes, because we love them as much as you guys do. So it's not off the table at all. But I will say that it might be a wait to get them.
We have a brainstorm list of books that we kind of want to do for paperback classics that we're hoping to do. So yeah, it's definitely one of the options that we're looking at for future boxes. Next question. How did you choose to make special editions of Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares? And thank you, they're stunning. We actually decided a while back. I think this was actually before I joined on even. It's been like a long process of, talking to publishers, talking to Laini, back and forth, and actually, putting together a plan to do these. And we decided to do these because we know it's such a beloved series. Laini writes such great books, and with Daughter of Smoke and Bone, it's almost one of those like cult classics within like the bookish community. I'd say people like have read them, they're fantastic. And then Strange the Dreamer, Muse of Nightmares came out, and in the same way, they've become like classics, and people outside of the bookish community, I'd arguably say, are also like, they also read these books and they love them. So we know, because it's such a beloved series, we kind of wanted to do something for them, and so it just happened to be special editions, and I'm really glad we did them.
Yeah. So Teresa, how does a typical work day at OwlCrate look like?
It really varies, depending on what needs to be done. But overall, there's a lot of reading involved, obviously. At any given time, we have several manuscripts that we are considering, both for boxes and for other things. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. There's also like other stuff that we kind of need to do. On my end, sometimes I need to do like item write-ups, the spoiler cards we both are working on now. There's also a bunch of other stuff that we kind of figure out on a day-to-day basis. So, for example, contacting artists, keeping in touch with artists, just chit-chatting about like bookish stuff in general, because it'll come up when we curate, and also like brainstorming item ideas, figuring out what subscribers will like in terms of items, all of that. So it really varies. We also have certain days where we have certain meetings for certain things, so planning around those, brainstorming for those too. What else? I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Our days definitely don't look the same every day, because there's always something different to do. I would say the constant is all the brainstorm meetings and the curation meetings that we have. Those are always fun to go in. But aside from that, just like brainstorming on our own, researching, coordinating with the artists, and reading through manuscripts, which also does take time, but it's necessary to ensure that like we're choosing books that we like and we want to feature on OwlCrate boxes.
Yeah. Next question. So, best time at OwlCrate / what is your favorite thing about OwlCrate?
Yeah, so as someone who joined, it's been like 3 months, I would say my favorite part is between brainstorming sessions, because I just really like working my brain through all of that, just coming up with new ideas, and like kind of even just seeing them go through that development phase of like, oh, this is gonna work out, this is gonna be fun. And just being able to read manuscripts. I mean, that's always fun. Like, I'm a big reader, and just being able to read books that are going to be coming out soon is just like so much fun.
Same. Reading the manuscripts is also like such a treat, but it's also like a double-edged sword because again, you read the manuscripts and you have nobody to talk to about them except for the curator. So that's why like my favorite part of like just the OwlCrate process in general is the bookish chat that we do, because sometimes it goes off topic, but not really, because everything always, you know, helps out with the curation process in the end. But when we finish the manuscripts, there's always like a moment where we're like, oh my gosh, can you believe that XYZ happened? And then if it's one of those books where it ends on a cliffhanger, it's even worse. I will say that for one of the books that we were doing for this year, it ends on a cliffhanger because it's part of a series. And when we finished that book, there was a moment where we were literally screaming at each other over like webcam during one of the curation meetings, like the curation team, because we could not believe how the cliffhanger ended. So it's always one of those moments where we're like, we can't talk about this to literally anybody else. So it's just us in a tiny little group. It's a little book club, and we're discussing the book, and we're also like, shocked, horrified, or like, just ecstatic about certain things. And so yeah, it's really fun, but it's also kind of, well, it's not limiting necessarily, but there's only a couple of us who are able to talk about these things. So yeah.
Me being the impatient one, it's kind of a little bit of a difficulty to have it like hold in to like not be able to talk about it, because I'm like, I have to wait for people to get the book now to talk about it. And like I'm also that obnoxious one where like when we're reading the manuscripts now, I'll be texting you like, did you finish it? Like, can you talk about it? Are you done? Because it's like I need someone to talk to about.
It's basically it's a glorified book club over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then next question, what's your favorite dessert?
Ooh, fun question. I'm always changing my mind on that. It's never the same, but I would say right now it's carrot cake because it's just something that I'm craving. Yeah, I would say that's my favorite right now.
I love tiramisu because it has that kind of like that bittery chocolate taste. But I also really love bubble tea. And because I live in Vancouver, like my bubble tea options are just a vast variety because we have a lot of bubble tea shops over here. And I do the whole like 30% sugar, low ice thing that like every Asian person I know does. So yeah, bubble tea is probably my favorite dessert, if I can count it as a dessert. I guess it's a drink. But
I love bubble tea. Yeah, I would count that. Yeah. Those are all of the questions that we received on Instagram and on the Nest. But we do have some live questions that we'll go through.
Yeah, live questions. So let's see. Leslie is asking, how did you narrow down the quotes? There are so many good ones. Oh, for Strange a Dreamer. So what we did for Strange a Dreamer was we had an idea of like the vibe the quote was kind of supposed to give out. And then so through the process of rereading the two books, I actually went through and highlighted a couple of those. So whenever I read a manuscript now, it's kind of become second nature to go like, oh, this would make for a fantastic quote. And of course, because Strange a Dreamer, like it's such a beloved series, people already have their favorite quotes. Like I also do that thing where I go on Tumblr and search up like mood boards where people add like quotes in. And then so I kind of see what like people like. And then so I ended up with a list, I think about, for the two bookmarks specifically, I think there was like a list of 12. And then for like the covers and all that, there was another list. But overall, we had a really, really big list. And then it became a matter of trying to match up the vibe of that specific quote with whatever we're trying to put it on. So the cover, the foil, or the bookmark. It sounds like a tedious process now that I'm trying to like explain it, but it's really not. It's really fun to look at the quotes and kind of remember what happens in the story. But yeah, that's basically what we did for Strange a Dreamer, but it's also like it's a similar process regardless of what we're doing. So like for other books, we also do something similar. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah. Someone said, Lexi Garcia Reed said, I spoiled myself since I'm from Canada, but watching other unboxing videos made me excited to get my box in the mail. I got it a few days ago and I love everything. I think that's about the January box.
Yeah.
I'm going to apply that to the Strange the Dreamer box too. But yeah, we're so happy that you guys are liking the boxes that you're
Mhm.
getting and like having fun unboxing and seeing everyone else unbox and display them. Like that's always such a treat to watch.
For sure. Oh, Leslie also said, Teresa warming up the spine. Can we be best friends? For sure. I love people who, follow proper book etiquette, if that makes sense.
There's a specific way that I know to like open the spines because like you're supposed to like do it kind of like page by page from the end until you reach the middle so that it like slowly opens. And
Mm-hmm.
like I've been doing that especially with my paperback books because I'm like, I don't want cracked spines on my bookshelf. I want to like take care of them. So I'm like, all right, gotta take care of those book spines.
This is like a bit of a nerdy side note, but I actually I come from like a media studies background for like university, so we study a lot about like the history of books. We handle old books and like rare books and archives and stuff like that. So you're supposed to hold the book like this and kind of open it like that. And I tend to I try and do that all the time for my own books, but like for sure for rare books you have to do that. But overall, I think like book etiquette, like how you treat a book, is just, it's important because it helps you preserve the book. And there's certain ways of holding it so you don't drop the book and stuff like that. And I do find that helpful. So for anybody who's like watching this and wants to like look at it, there's like a bunch of tutorials on YouTube. There's like written tutorials too, and they're super useful, and it takes like 5 minutes to learn, but it helps a lot if you want to preserve your books. Just throwing that out there because I know that people, sometimes will accidentally drop their books or like crack the spine in an incorrect way. And it's always kind of like heartbreaking to see. So, it's useful stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do we have over here? So JMD Hunter says, will there be another series like the Lord of the Rings bowls in our monthly boxes? Yes, we have a bunch of collections for 2023 that we can't really talk about right now because they're in the latter boxes. I will say that we have, I think the first one is actually in February. Yes. So one of the collections will be out in February, and we're so excited for people to see them. It is very shiny, but also very useful as far as items go. But it's also been designed with so much love, and we've kind of seen the design process, and we think that people will be absolutely over the moon with these.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting, but you guys are gonna have to wait to see what they are for sure.
There's a bunch of collections. It's not just the February one, so keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Casey Carnage says, about how many hours do you spend a day reading manuscripts? Ooh, it depends. Especially if I'm really getting into a manuscript, I will binge through that manuscript so quick. And it also just depends on like how my day is going in terms, because again, I'm a grad student. So anyone who knows and anyone who's in grad school, Teresa would know too, is that sometimes you're just struggling to find the time, and you try to squeeze it in whenever you can, for sure.
So like Yeatasmin said, I'm also like a grad student, and I'm in an English program, so I am reading between like, I'm also like writing my thesis right now, so I'll be like on a given day, academic text wise, I'll be like reading maybe like 200-300 pages a day. So I try and vary it so my eyes don't get tired, because you have to read a bunch of different things. But overall for manuscripts, because there's that amount of manuscripts we get through, I tend to set aside like maybe 2-3 days per week to do binge reading. Same with you, Yeatasmin. So like, sitting down, cup of coffee, cup of tea, whatever, book, and then just shut out every other distraction, and then just read through it and see how much you get through. And on like a productive binge reading day, I will get through like an entire book. So yeah, it really depends. Also, because this job requires a lot of different tasks in terms of what we need to do during the day, there are days where you might not just get any reading done, and that's because you'll be doing other things. So yeah, it really varies.
Yeah. Reading is just one of those fun parts of the job, but there are so many other things that are involved in this job. So sometimes that kind of goes into the back burner when it needs to, especially when there are other priorities regarding box building and such. And kind of like you said, like grad school reading is intense. It's funny because I'm in a design focused program. I'm reading as much as you are in your English program. So it's just grad school, as it's just what it's about. But yeah, you just try to find time when you can, for sure.
see. Trying to scroll through. Melzy says the Strange Dreamer set is so beautiful. Thank you. We're actually getting a bunch of different comments about Strange Dreamer. JMD Hunter says that would be my dream to get the Strange Dreamer box. It's my favorite. I'm just really glad that people love the series and that love these special editions. So yeah.
Yeah. Dreama says, I read them for the first time last month. I love them. That's awesome.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? Anna says, let's talk about teas. I hoard them so hard. They are my favorite treat. Same. We have a bunch of teas up in the shop. My little sister is obsessed with OwlCrate teas. So she like, I think she exclusively drinks OwlCrate teas now. And I think she'll be very embarrassed if I expose her. But I will do it. Like,
well, you did it anyways.
Yeah, her favorite is the Sea Witch, and it is like such a dreamy blend because we make London fogs a lot in our household. So she uses the Sea Witch blend to, make London fogs. So she adds like maple syrup because we're Canadian, and then she adds cream and a bunch of other stuff, and it's not like a London fog in the traditional sense, but it tastes like a London fog, and it is heavenly. I can drink like 6 cups of that London fog in a day, and the Sea Witch blend is the best for that. And she's currently not testing, but like she's trying to figure out her other favorites from the OwlCrate teas. So I'm letting her do that. She has good taste, so I'll let her figure out the tea, and I'll just like benefit from it. But yeah, I'm really glad that people love the teas in general because we also try and include them in the boxes, and we have them in the shop too.
Yeah, Anna says, tell her we can be besties then. I mean, yeah.
For sure.
I am definitely a tea girl.
Same.
Especially over a coffee. Like over coffee, I prefer tea. So when we get them in the boxes, I'm like, oh my gosh, like obsessed. Just it's so good.
I think it might be my old age, but coffee nowadays like makes me jittery, and tea doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The last time I had coffee, I was awake for 36 hours.
Oh
it was
no.
terrible. And like after that, I'm like, oh my, I'm definitely like my tolerance has gone down for coffee. Yeah.
So yeah, tea is great for that. Let's see. What else do we have on here? Esther Bookster says, when you do read the manuscripts, are you allowed to post your reviews on it before they're released? We tend to try not to do that because we know that there are people who follow us on Goodreads, on what have you, and then they'll be able to guess that we're doing like a certain book. And we try and keep everything a surprise, right? Until it's announced anyways. So we tend to stay away from that. Yeah.
Yeah, there are definitely books that we are reading that we do try to keep a surprise. So that's definitely something that we try to keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
Arlene Enchanted asks, will you be doing Curse for True Love?
Mouth sipped. Side-eye emoji.
Side-eye.
I feel like we need to print out the side-eye emoji and like put it, and then popsicle stick it and then like raise it whenever we need it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You know that TikTok sound that's like side-eye, just that's like really viral right now. That's all I keep thinking about. I'm like, I see these questions, I'm like, side-eye.
For sure. Lexi Garcia reads comments. I'm excited to use the silicone tea bag and dish we got from the 2022 boxes. That was in our December box. Yeah. I hope you find it useful. I sure have, because I have like a lot of loose leaf teas that I've been using. My sister has more specifically, but I also don't like strong teas. So I've been like, dipping it once, twice, and then just putting it to the side. And personally, I think it's probably one of the most useful items, but I also like drink a lot of tea. So yeah. Hopefully you get to use it soon, Lexi.
I think it's like a perfect addition, especially because OwlCrate does have a lot of loose teas. So that's just like the cherry on top,
And it's, we're still in the winter months for like so it's a useful item for this time of the year for sure.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I think that is all the questions we have.
Yep.
Awesome. So, just to remind everyone that you guys should sign up to the newsletter. There are a lot of people who ask about updates on future items and future like books and fandoms and everything. Join the newsletter. You will get updates there. You can also rewatch events on the, and for Instagram it would usually be on the Reels tab. For the Nest, I know there's a folder where you can watch past live streams, so it should be on there after the live. And just remember, if you want future boxes, to subscribe and to purchase, and just follow our socials to keep up with more OwlCrate news.
And today's giveaway winners will be contacted by our awesome social media team soon. So keep an eye out on our Insta stories and the Nest for announcements. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Yeah, this
hope
was
you
an
had fun.
awesome first live on the Nest. It was really exciting.
Woo!
Yeah.
And we're hoping to do more of these on here, so, you know.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Take care.